what happens is that they get really excited that they get into this position, and they try to they start using their feet to push back, and now they lose the elbow line, which is really important to maintain the control of the arm. And people a lot of times can turn into them, and you went from being in mount to now being on the bottom playing guard, which isn't terrible, but you were just on top. So let's make sure we try to stay on top. So we're over here. I'm on my toes, remember. I'm putting one hand over, pretending like I'm in mount. One hand down, and stacking the bottom of my hand on top of the front of my hand. Now I'm gonna pop up low. And now, a lot of people are experts, and you'll be able to just throw this leg over like, right? But like I said, when you're doing this on a wooden floor and your neighbor, I know my neighbors aren't too understanding about making noise. So what we're gonna do over here is, in the same position, I'm on my toes, so that makes it easy to pop up. And now I'm gonna take a step, step, step. Always pretending like you have someone's arm here. One of the things that you can do to simulate having someone's arm is get a broomstick or get any kind of, or one of those wiffle ball bats, and pretend like you're holding someone's arm here. Now, remember, all I want you to do is sit, pinch your knees, grab where the wrist and hand meet, your feet are down so you can bring your hips up. This, the hand that's controlling where the wrist and hand meet is not to bring his hand further down. You just have to keep his arm where it is, and you're using the floor to drive your hips up, and you wait for the imaginary tap. He didn't tap, I gotta go through omoplata. Heel tap. So let's do that one more time, all together. We're counting 5 of these. So we're here. Remember, we're on our toes. I'm going one hand on the ground, the other hand, the palm of my hand is on top of the front of the other hand. Now, I pop up low, and I'm going to take a step, 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 when I went from north to east. Now I just sit down, grab the imaginary arm where the wrist and hand meet, pinch my knees together. Remember, you don't need to drive this hand down necessarily. You want to keep his arm where it is and use the floor to drive your hips up. And did they tap yet? Yes. He tapped. All right, that's 1. 4 more. We're here. Remember to be on your toes. You pop. One of a detail that I like to teach my kids is that when I'm here, look, I'm over here. What I want to do is I want to not just come up and leave a lot of room between me and the person's arm. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up. So if I'm back here, look where my knees, look where my feet are. I'm trying to come up to keep a little bit more connection with the arm. I'm gonna use Arianna. Come. I'm gonna use Arianna to show this. So we're over here. I'm in the mount position. Let's move back a little bit for the YouTube. I'm going over, and I'm stacking the hands on top of each other. Now look, I'm driving my hips up. Here. I'm not staying here because if I'm over here, they can just drive their elbow to the ground, start hooking me, creating all sorts of problems for me. So I'm over here, as if I'm giving it CPR. And now I come up, and now look at the connection between me and the arm. It's a little tighter. Now I'm gonna take a step, 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 throw the leg over, grab where the wrist and hand meet, put the feet down, bridge up, and finish the arm bar. We're here again. I'm going to go other side. Over and under. I'm trying to isolate whichever arm I have over, that's the arm I'm isolating. I come up, and I step, step, throw the leg over the face. I don't want to sit down unless I throw the leg over the face. Grab where the wrist and hand meet, put the feet down, bring the hips up, finish the arm bar from here. We're here. Here. Obviously, right, This happens to adults and kids. If I get too zealous and I turn, and I try to sit down before I throw the leg over the face, she comes up, she's in my close guard, but it's not ideal, right? We just finished being on top. We have to try to finish from that top position. So again, I think we have 3 more. Let's go back. Here, popping up, taking a step. Now we went from north to east. We sit down, grab where the wrist and hand meet, bring our hips up, and finish. Let's go again. We're here. We pop up. I step. Sit down. Pinch our knees together, grab where the wrist and hand meet, bring our hips up, using the floor to drive our hips up. Sometimes the person is really big and we won't be able to use our feet don't touch the ground, especially with this leg over here, the one that's across their torso. So more so their chest. So what I do is you just use their body as the leverage to help get your hips up. We got one more, ladies. We're here. I'm going over, under, popping up, taking a step, sitting down, pinching the knees together, bringing our feet down, our hips up, and finishing the armbar from there. All right, so that's our second solo partner drill. Like I said, we're gonna have a challenge in a little bit. We're gonna have a knee on belly challenge, and we're gonna have an armbar challenge. It's gonna be versus this one over here. So if you guys can beat Cheska, post your number, and we'll put it up on the board, and we'll have challenges like this all week. So if you don't have a partner, doing knee on belly is extremely easy. We can find any household products we have around. Yarmila, can I borrow that chair? I'm over here. I'm using the chair. Chair's a great tool to knee on belly because you can also leg drag the chair if you need to. But we're here. Anytime that you're playing guard, you don't want to be flat on your back with your feet on the ground. I'm not a believer of doing knee on belly drills with our partner having their feet on the ground. Because if you're playing guard, you're going to have your knees close to your chest, eliminating the space between your elbow, knee, and hip. You're protecting this hip line over here. So if your knees are down, then that hip line is exposed, and I can just 1, 2, 3, and it's there for me. So I usually have my students practice the knee on belly with their knees up. It's just a good way to, 1, for me to get used to having somebody their legs up, and 2, for her to get used to defending her guard. I like to grab outside, inside grips. You can grab double inside grips here, but regardless of the fact, I like to grab outside so I can get the legs out of the way easier. Does that kind of telegraph which way I'm going? Yeah, but normally it's not a problem for me. I'm outside, I'm inside. I push the legs to the outside, especially for the kids. They have to get used to pushing the legs out to the side. So we're here. I'm going outside, inside grip. Now, my first step is with whichever side I'm going. So if I'm going to the right side, I'm stepping with my right foot first. And this step is not over here in space, right? This foot is gonna go away, but towards her hip line here. So you see right now it's perfect because it's on the tape. But wherever your partner's belt is, right, you wanna take a step towards the belt. So I'm taking the first step outside towards the belt. The second step comes to the hip, and now I bend my knee across her stomach. The last step is for balance, and so she doesn't grab my foot. Remember, if we leave this foot here, she can hook it, and now she's causing me problems. I'm over here. I don't want to be over here towards her head, because same difference. She grabs my leg and starts giving me problems. All right. And regardless over here, I don't feel as balanced. Over here, not like this. That's a little bit too dramatic. You want to be here with your foot down and your knees up. So again, simulating as if we were, if you had someone in front of you. You're going outside, inside, and taking the first step to the hip line, away from the hip line. Not over here in space, right? I don't want to take this step over here in space, because then now I'm here way off balance. Right? So I take first step to the hip, second step on the hip. Bend your knee and your shins across your stomach. Last step over here with the foot down and the knee up, away from her arm. If she tries to grab me, she can, but I have an opportunity to start grabbing the arm, and then from here I can get into all sorts of different attacks. So again, we're here. Outside step, remember, not over here in space. Hip line, to the hip, and one more for good luck over here, away from her with the foot down and the knees up. So now we're going to practice. We can practice with a whole bunch of inanimate objects, but we're going to use pads for the ladies. And I'm going to use cherry. So now I'm taking a step to the outside. We're going to count 10. Actually, we'll count 20. I hope some of you guys are doing the workout with us. If not, we're going to get a nice little sweat right here. Everyone ready? Everyone ready? Let's make sure we're looking good for the gram. Ready? We're counting 20. We're all doing it together. Head up. Remember, when you're approaching someone's guard, you don't want to come in with your head down. You're bending at the knees and your waist is a little bit back. I'm taking a step outside to the hip. One more time for balance. Coming back to the middle. Boom. 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 One more time. That's 4. We're going to pick up the speed. That's 8.